Oh, what the hell?
Hey, blood bag! I'm headed to Valhalla, all shiny and chrome and shit. So I need some of your blood, because my blood's not so good. Also, I'm gonna need you to explain the Mad Max plot for me, so I need you to watch all of them. So that way, when I head to Valhalla, I don't look like an idiot.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. God, I love that type of title card. It feels like a real drunk divorced dad actually drew it with his sad, shaky hands, you know?
What a wonderful philosophy you have.
I do not love white words on black opening credits, but it's fine. I realize this movie was made for the cost of like one English undergraduate degree. Which is a lot. But anyway, the movie begins a few years from now outside the Hall of Justice. Which, by the way, are looking raw, but like with an Australian accent. So they're looking like a dead set dunny, right?
No, I'm just giving you a hard time.
But no, wuckers. Because elsewhere, there's a dispenser of that justice eyeballing a couple of fornicators through the scope of his sniper rifle. He and his partners seem pretty similar to regular cops, except for the fact that they're Australian and therefore indecipherable.
March out a big bopper, march out a big bopper.
Bumblebee tuna?
Oh, yeah, it's a grown guy again.
Oh, yeah. Bumblebee tuna!
They may also be criminals themselves, which, again, makes them pretty similar to regular American cops. This is a very international movie.
What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal?
More like Mad Maxing that target demographic. Am I right, Dave? Am I right? It's weird that we're gonna still be able to talk to you even though I'm strapped to a car flying 1,000 miles an hour.
Hey, I'm strapped to a pole.
Yeah. Dave's riding a pole.
Which is, of course, a statement of fact and in no way a comment on the driver's sexual orientation.
But then, oh no! A dispatch says,
We got a cop killer.
You're kidding.
I am not kidding. He also stole a cop car with his girlfriend, and also he's crazy as shit.
I'm a fuel-injected suicide machine.
Suicide is badass.
Also, his name is
Night Rider.
but without the K or the perm, which might sound like a thing you'd call yourself offhand while being insane and killing cops, but apparently this is like his God-given Christian name.
Is that like on your birth certificate too?
And everybody loves this guy, except his parents, obviously. Knight Rider is every insane Australian's best man. Their best mate. No, wait, I could do better. Their best Vegemite.
Even straight from the jar.
What's the matter?
Not hungry, am I?
Nailed it. So anyway, best go drive fast, but not furious, because that's another worse thing.
There's nothing, she did it. We can all go home.
But to do so might require utilizing one of them high fatality roads that Morpheus is always warning us about.
Then let us hope that I was wrong.
You weren't.
Anyway, other cops pursue Mr. Ryder as well, and it turns out he's a pretty decent driver in that he causes our initial heroes to crash, which usually would make you a bad driver, but the rules are different in Australian.
What?
Anyway, the whole crashing thing makes the one who stares at naked people banging in an open field say, again, something in Australian.
That Skag and his Flusy, they're gonna die.
Outrageous fun.
It's not racism, because Australians are just something they made up for the Mad Max movies.
That's so cool.
Yeah, Conan, it's never expected it, to be honest.
Anyway, the kangaroo cops whir their car back up and get back at it, like a kangaroo hit by a car.
I killed a kangaroo.
A secret third cop tells a yucky story
With his face ripped off.
in a diner, but then, so he runs to his motorcycle to join the chase because he's got wicked FOMO cack, fear of missing out on a crazy-ass chase. Oh God, there's some doofy kid in the road, but it's fine, nobody hits him. So Dave is now sulking behind the camera, being like, it's okay, buddy, I'm sure there'll be some dead kids later in the movie, okay? We just gotta stick with it. The original cops who've caught up completely obliterate a van.
was my van.
Maybe they should just sit this one out.
We're really gonna get it this time?
Actually, let's just have all the cops take a break. Maybe play a little Crazy Taxi, a little Burnout 3 takedown, and then take another swing at it once you're trained up and hopped up on some early aughts emo and pop punk. But oh wait, there's a fourth, even more secret cop with fly-ass shades and a look that just screams, I'm not particularly fond of Jewish people, or black people, or John C.
Well, I'll add it to my threat collection.
Anyway, he drives straight at Knight Rider for a second before chickening out and then whipping the car around and tailgating Knight Rider so closely that Knight Rider starts crying.
It's okay for macho men to show every emotion available.
Now, I hate tailgating as much as the next father of three who not that long ago flipped off a tailgater when he passed by me, only for him to whip in front of me and slam on his brakes and cause my whole family's existence to flash before my eyes. Subscribe to my Patreon so my family can have better memories flash next time, but I'm not an insane cop-killing psychopath. Like, grow a pair, dude. You were just yelling about how suicidal and crazy you were. What's a little bumper play? What's a little rim job action? Okay, yeah, I guess that does suck. I get your point now. But alas, I'm too late. Oh God, rip! Ride in peace, Knight Rider.
Just another glory rider.
Later that night, Max hangs out with his dumb baby and his literal saxophone playing wife. That's a top 3 annoying type of wife. Just sitting there blowing away on an instrument 10 times the size of what you're working with?
Are you waiting to receive my limp penis?
It makes you feel inferior, impotent even. Much better are kazoo playing wives. That we can work with.
Get out of here.
I will say though, she's great at drying hair.
Oh, that feels good.
By the way, did you know that the inventor of the saxophone had numerous assassination attempts on his life? That, kids, is what we call saxophone foreshadowing, or forsaxoing. But our hero can only get saxed and dried out for so long before a man named Goose, who we soon realize is the blonde motorcycle cop from earlier and not the dead friend of Tom Maverick.
You know that Goose.
Hold me, Goose! Needs him to come back to old Justice Hall for some reason.
The Goose wants me there early.
Max's wife is sad, and not even Max's fun mask can cheer her up.
Would you like to see my mask?
But she gets over herself and makes some baseball signs at him. Maybe she's telling him to steal second, throw a fastball? I don't know.
What's that?
She's saying that she's
Crazy about you.
which is not something you want the third base coach signing to you. If that's happening, tell a cop like Max so he can run him off the road and shoot him with a shotgun. Anyway, at work, Max and his silly apple-mouthed, broke-legged cop friend check out a sick new car with a sick new engine, which makes Max say many reverent car words.
Oh, it's Magnus, put the music in the kitchen. Hydro pen springer spurting off the manifold drive.
And as it turns out, this is a secret gift from his police boss, Dr. Eggman.
Back in my lair once more.
Who hopes to keep Max on the force since he's apparently considering quitting, and the only way to get Max to stay is to secretly gift him big-ass muscle cars, apparently.
When do we go for a ride? I think we've got him.
I've counted you 17 different times.
This is also the only way I can keep my wife from leaving me. Every time we have a fight, inevitably there's a souped-up Mustang in the driveway the next morning. Please join my Patreon. Our love is so expensive.
You've seen it. You've heard it.
And speaking of love and cars, here are some people that are naked in a car. Oh, dang it. Actually, they're not naked. Twist! Probably not even as in love as my wife and me. Double twist! A bunch of motorcycle guys with silly helmets drive into town and they rev their shit in unison. Because that's literally all you need to build a lasting male friendship. And indeed,
we're here to meet a friend.
Who just so happens to be dead Knight Rider lying in a death basket.
That must be your friend over there. Poor bastard.
The leader of these good buddies is named Toe Cutter because he cuts toes while saying, look, I'm towing the line of good taste.
You can't keep getting away with it.
The guys in the gang love it, at least I assume, though we never see it, but Toe Cutter could just as easily be named Mouth Noiser because we do see him Oh my God, I just totally forgot what was the name of the guy they were all here to see.
The Night Rider.
Still don't get why we care so much about this guy.
Remember him when you look at the night sky.
Sure, yeah, I'll do that. Maybe he was great at, for example, shake pranks. God, Knight Rider would really have sprayed that guy's face so good. I miss him. Especially when I look up into the night sky, you know?
I am the Knight Rider.
Whatever. The friends are bored. So they chase down the Never Nudes and meet Cleaver their car off the road somehow. And then drag them away to probably make good buddy friendship all over them. And then Max and Goose, back at it again, leave a woman in the tiniest little motorcycle sidecar I've ever seen. And they drive to the scene of the Never Nude accident to discover the dude with his ass out, a tied up woman, and some random biker guy named Johnny that I guess they just left behind on accident. Knight Rider! I'm actually a little confused by this. Like, the bikers literally go, "Ah, shit, we left Johnny."
Johnny the boy has done it again.
And they send somebody back for him.
You are going back for him.
But does he not own his own vehicle? Is he stupid? Why did he stay? Is he like an outlaw biker intern and has to run after the gang on his legs while making vroom vroom noises until he earns his wheels? I don't know. But he's arrested now, except, oops, no he's not, because nobody wants to press charges.
The punks didn't show, the girl didn't show, John C. didn't show, nobody showed!
And also the lawyers think he's mentally unstable, and while Goose is very upset about this,
shut up, I'll tell you. Keep going, Johnny, keep going!
I don't think they're wrong.
Right out of his skull, man. He ain't never come back.
Woo! Like, where do you think you are, Goose? America?
Where are the armed men who come in to take the protesters away?
So now Johnny's free and all the friends hang out on a beach and they make out with a nippled mannequin.
She's mine.
Except, oh no, she's a nippled traitor.
Full of treachery.
So they shoot her. Except Johnny actually shoots her wrong and Toe Cutter walks him into the water and says what Dave always says to me when I've revealed too many of his controversial opinions.
Keep your sweet mouth shut.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't understand what's going on here.
I'm on fire!
But I still crave that sort of camaraderie, I think.
The chicken.
I mean, I guess Dave is always making out with and shooting sex dolls and telling me that I can't shoot the sex dolls, and then he drags me into the ocean and he comments on my sweet mouth, so I guess I really can't complain. No, like literally Dave threatened my family to make me stop complaining.
Sorry.
But male friends, right?
You gotta do it big!
Goose spends the night listening to a cabaret lady sing about a
Licorice ride.
over and over. Which I assume is a reference to Candyland, while somebody outside dicks with his motorcycle. Goose loves Candyland.
Licorice treats will fill the streets.
So he and the singer waste the night away, I assume playing it, but in the morning he drives his motorcycle real fast and goes friggin' flying. Like his body literally does what my body feels like it does whenever somebody likes and subscribes and smashes that notification bell, you know? I just feel like I'm flying, so do it to help me fly. And indeed, Goose is basically fine, so he throws his bike in a truck.
You're a lucky boy.
Drives away. You know, I think this dude is the mad one. Seems way crazier than Max.
Hey, it's a goose.
But I guess Gonzo Goose probably didn't test well as a title. I'd watch Gonzo Goose, though. But anyway, now he's ambushed. And the truck flips. And Toe Cutter is like, okay, Johnny, you need to blow this dude. And Johnny is like,
Toe Cutter, this isn't what I want.
And Toe Cutter is like, and Johnny's like, oh, okay. And then he does, and Goose, I guess, technically lives, but he's looking rough, like this, but both sides. So he's like one face.
That's gonna kill me. That's real. That wins more honor.
He's so rough that Max nightmares and briefly entertains the possibility of talking about his feelings with his wife.
I've never been able to say things to you, Jess, about how I feel. When I was a kid, my father, I remember staring down at his shoes, special shoes, brown.
So beautiful. He's working on it.
Baby steps.
Well, you tried, I guess. He goes to his dominatrix boss. to tell him that he's quitting, and the boss is like, look, there just aren't any heroes anymore in this post-apocalyptic world, and you're one of the only non-crocodile themed heroes we have in the whole country. After all, we've seen you take out one guy so far.
Damn, that's a lot of guys.
So how about instead of quitting, you have a vacation? And also, I'm all lubed up and ready to go if you are.
I'll be in my quarters at lunchtime, covered in Tirama Salata.
You want me to beg?
But Max is like, if I keep doing this job and or you, I'll go crazy, mad even. But sure, family trip, which let's be frank, is gonna be a lot of fun. You think they'll see a castle nearby?
No.
Or am I punishing you too much with these puns?
Wait.
That are also foreshadowing.
I'm covered in wife and child blood. Wait.
But immediately they screw up a tire and go to a repair guy, and while he and Max talk shop,
We had a blowout a while back. Raunchy, very raunchy.
Max's female wife
My favorite kind.
takes their kid to go get ice cream. Toe Cutter just wants to share some ice cream with the family, but she pops his nards and drives away without even giving her baby child so much as a seatbelt, which is bad parenting. I seatbelt all of my children whenever I escape bandits. Female and baby grab Max and only later realize, whoops, we ripped the dude's hand off.
What you got there, mate?
Then they bring that hand in a bag to a guy? A guy whose job is hands? A hand job guy?
I think he means you.
Know what I mean? No.
And the guy's like, it's no big deal, so don't worry about it. But like, worry about what? Who is this guy? Like, what are they even talking about?
If no one makes a claim to it, I say we can forget it.
Are they worried that they'll be charged with something from the police? Surely it's not illegal to drive away from hooligans attacking you so fast that their hands pop off. Or are they just trying to sell the hand and the guy's like, hey, if nobody claims it, legally it's yours and you can sell it.
I figure it's lost property.
Yes, of course, Dave, it's for weird sex stuff. This is Australia.
Fingers in butts, dicks in butts, sucking down on farts.
Or maybe this is an Addams Family prequel, I don't know. You think this is how the hand came?
Stop that.
If they're not worried, I'm not worried.
I don't know, but apparently it's fine. So Max is now working on fixing the car.
Connect the doohickey to the gizmo.
And there's a random old woman at the place they're at who is like, don't worry about the big weirdo in the woods. He's just a baby. And Max's wife, Jen, is like,
Sure, mate.
I'm glad so many people keep telling me not to worry. Makes me feel very safe. I'm gonna wander down to the beach that's approximately 15 miles away. I hope somebody bothers to check on the baby every once in a while. She just leaves the baby. Of course, after only a few minutes of sunbathing, she's pursued by motorcycle dudes and pigeons and a large mentally handicapped baby man. Oh man, these woods are nuts. Or maybe they're totally normal for Australia. It's hard to tell. I've never been because I refuse to travel without Dave, who's wanted in every single country.
Sorry.
But Jen makes it back okay, don't worry. And Max grabs a gun and plans to do something.
Very, very naughty.
And he literally skips into the woods with the man baby close behind. And again, am I the only person worried about this freaking baby?
I hope you die, Harley Jarvis.
Maybe it's because I have 3 babies of my own that only eat Patreon subscriptions, but okay, she just remembered the baby. Oh, well, you know what they say, better late than baby dead from neglect.
Sounds okay to me, Jess.
It's an Australian saying. They are a very rich culture.
Yeah, that's Australians.
She and baby are immediately grabbed by the bad guys because Max really isn't good at the whole protecting his family thing, which is why this movie isn't called Dad Max. He just keeps being like, sure, go grab ice cream, or I don't know, go to the beach, or wait here while I hunt down bad guys. Don't worry, the grandma lady has a gun.
Stand back.
And to be fair, Grandma gets them free and they hop in the car and they drive away because God knows where Max is. But then, that's right, the car's busted. So Jen and baby run down the middle of the street and they're tired to death. You get it? Because they're hit by a tire and they're also probably sleepy. And I'll be honest, this is one of those scenes that wouldn't affect me at all 5 years ago before kids, but now it makes me very upset. I've turned into a wuss. It just makes me so mad. Oh, I get the title now.
Thank aren't you gone?
Meanwhile, childless Dave over here is laughing at the thought of a motorcycle running over a baby. He told me just a few minutes ago off camera that he has personally run over like a dozen babies in the Toys R Us parking lot back when that was still in business. Toys R Us, not Dave's running over babies business. That's still booming. Oh, that's why you're wanted in so many countries. But anyway, the baby is dead. Steve, stop laughing.
Sorry.
And Jen probably isn't gonna pull through. So Max goes and grabs his cop shit and his fly-ass car and hits the open road. First, he interrogates that mechanic dude.
What the molly you think you're doing?
You?
And gets the location of Toe Cutter and the boys who are breaking badding the gas truck.
Yes, bitch!
And Max starts picking them off. Toasty! Which I guess is also another thing they did on Breaking Bad. This whole part of the movie is very Breaking Bad-esque, except that Breaking Bad could never happen in Australia because they have universal health care and people don't have to resort to cooking meth when they get cancer.
Yeah!
He whizzes past a group, causing one of them to crash, and then they chase him, and then they all crash, including this dude literally hit in the head by a bike. Because hell yeah, man, practical stunts are the shit. Although yes, I hope his head is okay. I hope they didn't pull a Landis. We should just pay stunt people the amounts we're currently spending on computer nerds. Then our action movies would friggin' rip. Like in the good old days when we didn't pay them and we just crashed their motorcycles. The only way I'm ever watching another superhero film is if they actually give somebody iron claws instead. Like shred people with them. Then Max puts photos in Toe Cutter's helmet as a warning, but he doesn't kill him, which is interesting. Like, I'm surprised Max has the restraint to toy with his victims instead of just outright shotgunning their penises off when he sees them, turning their didgeridoos into didgeridon'ts, if you will. But whatever, now he drives through a prohibited area, which means nothing. Like, why is it prohibited? By who? To what end? It just looks like a normal ass road like anywhere else. But Max sees an overturned bike and he's like, interesting, ah, shit! And he's shot in the legs and his arm gets run over. And one of the bikers named Bubba is like, I think I'm gonna walk up to this Mad Max fella here and shoot him in the penis. And Toe Cutter is like, quit toying, Bubba! And Bubba is like,
I know what I'm doing.
But he doesn't, so. The remaining motorcyclists motorcycle away while Max Jordan Belforts his way back to the car. But it's fine because Max then slams Toe Cutter into a truck and all is again right with the world. Too bad you're not Immortan Toe. Oh, shit. Mad Max can literally drive in his sleep? Badass, my guy.
Dumb bitch.
Max also finds Johnny hanging out, stealing some dead guy's shoes, and Max handcuffs him to a gas-leaking truck.
Hey, listen, man, will you listen to me?
And then pulls a literal Saw 2004 on him.
If you're lucky, you can hack through your ankle in 5 minutes.
Then Johnny is like, let me bestow upon you your name.
You're bad.
Hey, that's the name of the show.
And then he explodes. Game over. Hey, do you see that feral kid with the boomerang coming up? Maybe we should stop and pick him up. Maybe get out.
Whoops! Mad Maxed him.
Hey, do you remember the Road Warrior?
I remember the Road Warrior.
This voiceover sure does.
I remember.
He remembers.
But to provide better context, the disembodied voice explains that at some point in the past, for reasons nobody remembers,
I simply cannot remember.
Countries started blowing each other up until everybody ran out of gas and started eating each other. Naturally, if I ever have to wait more than 7 minutes at a gas station, I always end up eating all the people in the car in front of me. It's just human nature. It's natural. Snap into a gym.
It's only human natural.
But anyway, Max had a rough time with it all, primarily because his family was run over, if you recall. So he's out here trying to learn to live again, or some shit.
And it was here, in this blighted place, that he learned to live again.
He's off to a good start because he got what the millennials call a doggo, which is actually where the name dog comes from. That's a fact. Yahoo it.
No.
It's also a critter that feels a lot more important to you before you have 3 kids who you support with a Patreon. I mean, my dog's fine, but she sucks at singing The Greatest Showman. I mean, my kids suck too, but they're cuter.
Why don't we rewrite the song? Why don't we say your goodbye?
Anyway, Anyway, Max and his doggo are pursued by some much grungier dudes and much grungier vehicles compared to the first movie. And it's amazing how this aesthetic, which I'll call Dick's Sporting Goods core, has influenced hundreds of post-apocalyptic films since, even though set in the total opposite of a desert.
Wet ass
is our destiny!
But also that the first movie really didn't have this vibe, at least not to this extent. It was very low on the Dick scale. The first movie was like, what if in the future we all wore leather and didn't sweep very often? Now it's like, what if in the future we drove around in souped up trash go-karts while wearing cobbled together camp outfits?
Hi, guys.
And let me tell you, that's the future I want for my children.
Hi, guys.
And it's why I refuse to recycle and fully embrace global warming.
Hi, guys.
One step closer to the sexiest possible future. But anyway, Max pulls the old slam on the brakes trick that works so often in these types of chase scenes, and his dog pulls the old dig claws into metal so I don't go flying out the windshield trick, I guess. I mean, that dog should have been splattered all over the ceiling like 20 minutes ago. Dog has mad grip strength. Max hops out of his car to grab some gas from a stalled big rig with an alive guy who doesn't faze Max, and a dead guy who doesn't faze Max. There's even some angry, horny bikers looking on angrily and hornily, but Max, he's still not fazed. Just what is it gonna take to faze this guy?
Set your faces on force 3 to kill.
Jewish people?
I went from lenient to sort of pretty tough.
That's the one thing he can't handle. And to be fair, the bikers angrily and hornily drive away without attacking. Maybe because they noticed the dead kangaroo lying on the ground? If ever there was an omen for Australian bad luck, surely that'd be it.
Haste! Haste!
Crikey!
It's basically like an American finding a Twinkie in the gutter.
My God!
Also, Max's leg is still in a brace, which is a nice little nod to the last movie, even though most Americans didn't even realize there was a last movie. And this movie was just called Road Warrior when it was released in America.
Pray that he's out there.
Thank you, God!
Fun fact, sometimes I do facts. I know you can get those anywhere, and my videos are more about vibes than facts.
And facts don't care about your
But sometimes I like to give you a small fact as a treat for being good viewers, like I would a dog. Good boy. Or my children. Here's another fun fact. I haven't showered in 3 days so that I could finish this freaking video.
We are so throwing you a shower.
Max wanders around some more and finds a random gyrocopter thing that's got boobies and a snake on it, which coincidentally are Dave's 2 favorite things to eat. But then a weird-looking dude fremens up out of the sand and is like, gotcha, off-worlder. Better disengage the booby trap bomb on your car. Thank God you don't have a duck. The now beset upon gyro captain is like, hey, I saw an oil refinery settlement place not too far from here. I could take you there, but only if you don't kill me. I know Australians like you just love your gas. And Max is like, fine, but if you try to run away, my dog will literally shoot you. And hey, Gyro wasn't lying, but the refinery in question appears to be under constant siege, which is not super ideal.
Round and round, attack, attack.
So Max settles down to wait for things to clear up and eats a big old can of dog food right in front of his dog, like a real ass. Imagine if that dog ate a whole can of human food right in front of you, Max. This would be like me hogging a dead snake and or a boob all to myself in front of Dave, right? Right? We'll adjust the audio so it sounds like you're emphatically agreeing.
I'm Dave, and I emphatically agree.
Finally, the attackers leave, so then some of the refinery people also leave, but they're immediately caught up with and crashed and killed, and there'd be titties flying around. And Dave, wipe your mouth. And Mr. Gyro is weirdly sad about it.
Okay, love is dead.
Like, yes, I hate when people are murdered, but I'm not currently decades into a global apocalypse. Friggin' wussy. Max, who feels nothing, always, goes down there, kills a raider who stayed behind, grabs a technically still alive dude from the base and is like, if I bring you back, can I have gas?
Just take me back then.
So Max brings him inside the refinery's walls where there are just so many people with little bows and arrows and they're like little animals running around, and honestly, it's adorable. Is this where director George Miller got the idea for Babe?
Babe, babe.
I mean, it's like my 3rd grade birthday party in there. Just kidding. I didn't have any live animals at any of my birthday parties. You think I grew up rich? And how do you explain my Patreon, huh?
One of my buddies had like kangaroos and like a tiger and shit.
At a birthday party?
No, he had it just at his house. Like his parents.
Like he owned them?
Yeah.
What do you do with a tiger?
They kept it in a cage. It was kind of sad actually, but it was Texas, so you could like legally, it's their right to own a tiger.
It's their right.
Kangaroo's tiger. Like,
it's in the Constitution, I'm pretty sure. I had a friend with a PlayStation. I didn't have one, but he did.
Never ceases to amaze me.
Unfortunately, the dude dies. The Base King is like, I didn't hear nothing about no gas, so handcuff. But right then, all the bad dudes show back up, and the biggest, baddest dude is like, hello, my name is Humongous, which I feel like he could have workshopped that a bit more.
The Lord Humongous.
Same thing, pretty much.
He's like, as you can see, I'm quite large, humongous even.
Hey.
And I'm probably gonna kill all of you, but if you just walk away of your own accord and leave behind that tanker of gas, then I pinky swear I will not murder you all.
Just walk away. Just walk away. Just walk away.
So what does he want from us?
And while he's saying this, a feral child from the base kills one of the horny bikers from the intro with a boomerang. Because Australia. And he chops another dude's fingers off. And overall, he's just a huge, humongous nuisance.
Very funny wordplay.
The other horny biker is like, I'm now as mad as my chaps are assless. But Humongous is like, chap that ass back up here for a second, Chief. We're not gonna get revenge yet.
But soon and for the rest of your life.
And honestly, it's pretty lame that your horny biker lover was killed by a kid with a boomerang. Like at that point, you deserve it, you know? That's barely one step up from being killed by a Nerf football thrown by an octogenarian in hospice, which is how Dave's last biker lover did die, if I'm not mistaken, right? You and your biker lover were driving around and then a Nerf football thrown by an 80-year-old just took him out.
Which one is it?
Which
biker?
There's too many of them.
Initially, the refinery people are like,
It sounds reasonable.
because I mean, Humongous gave us his big ass word.
The gasoline will be ours.
Surely that's a man who sticks to his word.
I'm a man of my word.
It sounds reasonable.
But the base leader is like, I don't know. I feel like he might not necessarily stick to his word regardless of size.
Seriously?
And either way, I thought our plan was to tow the gas out of here and escape this wasteland and go somewhere nice, like Virginia.
Storming the University of Virginia.
That's where Dr. Jordan Breeding lives, and he's clearly thriving.
Yeah.
I mean, look at me. I have so many children. My loins are, definitely being enhanced by that sweet Virginia air.
I guess you're right.
And Max is like, oh, hey, I saw a big rig a couple of days ago that could probably, tow that tanker. I could go grab it for you in exchange for my car back and some extra gas and some...
New Aussie tacos.
And they're like, sure, that makes sense. So Max strikes out on foot carrying gas for the big rig along with his dog, who, by the way, is named Dog.
That's just what I call him, so.
Easy to remember, I guess. Dog. Also, the feral child appears to be a dog, and Max eats dog food. I mean, everybody got that dog in them out there.
We are one mind.
Max and Dog quickly catch up to a slowly escaping Gyro, and together they head back to his copter where the booby snake has killed a dude.
Lethal boobies.
And we learn, oops, Max had no ammo for his shotgun he's been brandishing around until this moment.
All this time.
Always.
Max may be mad,
Hey.
but he's also mad crafty.
That's dishonest.
So they fly to the rig and they get it working, and Max leaves Gyro behind, but Gyro is like, no, don't leave me stranded out here with only my fully functioning flying machine. Oh my God, what will I do?
What about me, You're not gonna leave it here, are you?
Oh, right, he can and does just follow him in the gyrocopter. I don't understand. Makes sense. Not sure what all the fuss was about. Maybe the guy's abandonment issues. Maybe he was a latchkey kid when all he wanted were helicopter parents. It would explain so much. That's sort of a pun.
Humorous wordplay.
Max and his big rig slam through a bunch of bad dudes. Even his tires are popped and the engine gets popped by a humongous sniper pistol. And also there are two people popping privates, as they say in the Australian post-apocalypse. And it looks like Max is gonna be too popped to make it, but then Gyro whips his snake on a dude, which feels like a bit from the live-action Speed Racer movie that I'll talk about in like a month or so. Sorry. Just trust me, bro. And okay, I gotta admit, I thought the flamethrower in this base was stupid and pointless, like it would require bad guys to be like 7 feet away for it to actually do damage, but it seems pretty effective here. Even still, however, a few scary weirdos make it into the base, including the horniest, assest one.
Right to jail, right away.
And they cause some trouble, including shooting the base leader in the leg. But eventually he's forced to sick ass flip his sick ass out of there. He's gonna be dizzy.
That guy seems fun at parties.
He does seem fun. He's got his butt out doing flips. The gyrocopter lands in the middle of the base and everybody's like, oh, cool, nice, hey, what's up, man? But nobody knows who he is, right? Max hasn't mentioned him and they haven't met him before, so how do they know he's not a horny bad guy? It's not like only good people own helicopters.
Fake news.
You know who else owned a helicopter? Thanos. I'd at least check to make sure his chaps are covering his ass. But one ass we know is good as Max's, and everybody likes him so much that they give him some actually functional shotgun shells, but then he's like, yeah, I'm leaving, thanks, bye. And while Max prepares to get out 2017, the handicapped guy who is sorted the base mechanic relays a bunch of the damage that's been done to the truck.
Got a crack broken, the damage that the crack was fractured in.
Well, what does all that mean?
Yeah, okay, but what does that mean? What does that mean?
Fingers and butts, dicks and butts.
Okay.
He needs 24 hours to fix it, and the leader does that thing that people always do in movies and is like, you got 12.
Okay.
Just once, I'd like to see a movie where the hacker or the tech or whatever just literally cannot make it happen in the time allotted. Like if in the 12 hours they can't even get the big rig started, the leader just has to say, fine, 24 hours, God. Or they just fully lean into it and they're like, we need 60 seconds to cook this minute rice. And the commander's like, you've got 30. And then the rice tastes kind of shitty. Dave, write this down. This is our next big sketch.
Okay.
Later that night, the wounded leader boy is like, please don't leave, Max, pretty please. I'll love you if you stay and drive the tanker for us, or else I'll insult you and call you a fat piece of shit if you don't come.
You're a scavenger, Max. You're a maggot.
Come on, please. And his sidekick is like, look, we're going to a beach where they have bikini ladies and stuff. Don't you like boobies, Max? Are you mad?
I'm a nice man.
They're really pulling out the stops. But Max is unconvinced and drives off into the night, high on mad, low on boobies. Except, whoops, he's pretty much immediately smashed off the road. You know, for a road warrior, this is a pretty embarrassing showing. One pipe to the windshield and he's flipping off the road like a steak cooked by an amateur. He crawls out of the wreckage, but they shoot dog, his dog. But also, whoops, they activate the booby bomb on his car, and the rest of the bikers presume Max dead and leave, I suppose. But fortunately, Max has an amigo ex literal machina, and he's medevaced back to the base that he literally just left.
There and back again.
So that was a scene. And so now, shockingly, Max is like, hey, I just had a crazy idea.
I'll drive that tanker.
Oh, that's a great idea. We hadn't considered that. Glad you took some time to get your head straight by having your dog named Dog get murdered, and your body straight by flipping your car 11,000 times. Here are some more shotgun shells. I guess giving mentally disturbed people ammo is their love language? Are we sure this movie isn't set in Texas? I got an idea. What if I drive the rig? And you're like, you mean the thing that we asked you to do 12 hours ago before your car exploded and that you have no other option? Yeah.
You know, you're making a lot of sense.
Man, I never thought that the post-apocalypse would have so many chirping birds.
Dude, I mean, the birds are survivors, man.
But they're not just survivors, they're thrivers. They sound like they're really having the time of their life out here.
Okay, pause break real quick. First, it's insane how many actual vehicles they're using in this movie. Like, can you imagine a movie made today with this many practical effects and just extras and shit driving around and doing stuff? It's legitimately impressive. Also, they're clearly about to bust out of this place with a big rig. They just don't write concepts like this anymore. Today, it's all three-body problems, but back then it was one off big truck solution. So here we go. Truck comes slamming out of the base and slamming shit, and Gyro hucks Molotov cocktails from above. And yeah, it is as advertised. Rad. The civilian vehicles dip off in another direction because obviously all the horny dudes want is the gas.
Some gas?
Gas.
Although, wouldn't the more valuable thing be the actual oil refinery itself? A gas truck full of gas is cool, but doesn't the base seemingly have the ability to procure additional oil for the foreseeable future? Additional Vespine gas?
We require more Vespine gas.
Okay.
To be fair, a couple of dudes do head into the base where it f***ing explodes. Oh, hell yeah. Suck a fat butt, CGI. This is an explosion powerful enough to cause an actual apocalypse. Climate change was worth it.
You right to jail.
And I know they had a lot of gas at this base, but the explosion is so huge, it actually feels like they maybe had some extremely powerful ordnance that might have been more valuable if aimed at the actual bad guys.
Mind your aim.
Like they've got an entire coal mine's worth of TNT in there or something, because good God, that's an explosion. Hey Dave, did you see the 58 crates of hand grenades? Oh my God.
Next to the hot plate. the oven I left.
It wasn't even a trap. It was just that they like forgot about it and they left the stove on. But okay, now we're at the final meaty set piece. The reinforced big rig is driving down the highway while chased by almost literally everybody in Australia. I mean, there's definitely at least 7 Hemsworths in there somewhere.
Who are you? Why are you here right now?
And people are throwing Molotovs, which are made from petrol, and they're throwing them to get more petrol. It's sort of like you gotta spin gas to make gas, I guess.
Gasoline.
And also they're getting hooked in the leg, which is bad for the hooky, but arguably even worse for the hookers.
Baby, I'm the real thing.
And the handicapped dude accidentally sets himself on fire, which suddenly makes me wonder if his initial injury was his fault somehow. He seems clumsy. I'm all right. And a hot warrior lady gets shot, and people be trying to scale the rig like it's the walls of Helm's Deep, and it's rad. All of it's rad. Somebody resurrect the corpse of Marie Curie, because we have so many rads in here. She does radiation. Also, we should resurrect the corpse of Jason Voorhees, because we made that same joke in that video. So like, also watch that video.
Dr. Jordan Breeding.
If you want, I'm not your dad. I'm also not Dave, who will come to your house and stab you in the taint if you don't do what I ask.
Oh, Jesus, God, no.
Anyway, oh, now they try shooting the tires again and really pounding on the main cab, but reinforcements arrive, even if the leader man gives a face like, what the hell are you doing, Max? Just like, drive away, dude.
Go on!
He seems mostly annoyed by the situation. Like he pulls up alongside the rig and he's like, but then the leader immediately dies. So look who's talking, eh? Gyro firebombs Humongous, but then gets shot down himself. And the kid who's in the cab with Max tries to grab a spilled shotgun shell on the hood. But ouch! The horny biker who boarded but appeared to have fallen off is still alive, and then oh, the big rig collides head-on with Humongous so hard it wipes out his entire past, and the truck flips, but hey, the tank is full of sand?
It gets everywhere.
Oh, you sneaky gas people. They gaslighted everyone. Max carries the kid like a beanbag chair, and it appears he didn't know he was literally just a random distraction, and the actual juicy juice was hidden in the civilian vehicles, but he takes it all in stride. He's just like, ha, well, those guys got me.
The juice, the precious juice, was hidden in the vehicles.
Somewhere on the road, Max found his sense of humor. And Gyro Guy survived, and apparently they make him the new leader of the gas people because they're apparently super desperate.
Among us, we found a new leader, the man who came from the sky.
John C.
And it's revealed that the narrator is actually the feral boomerang kid who learned to speak pretty okay, given that he was inarticulate at like 6 years old.
As for me,
oh, and Max doesn't go with him because he's more legend
than man.
Just want to make sure that's established in case Max has a few too many public scandals and or gets a few too many wrinkles and needs to be recast. We don't know what he actually looks like, okay? Or if he's actually anti-Semitic. Okay, he's just a legend, dude, okay? Don't worry about it. If he looks different, it's because he's a legend.
Legend? Wait for it.
So what are your parents like?
You know, they're getting ready to retire from the dentist practice. Trying to find a buyer.
Mine died in the nuclear holocaust.
Both of them?
Yeah, well, they were very close together when the bomb went off, yeah.
Shit, man, so you're like an orphan?
Well, I don't like to say that, but I guess, yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
So did someone like adopt you then?
No, I just sort of, I grabbed a motorcycle and I hit the road.
Huh.
Yeah, just been sort of driving ever since.
Yeah, bro. You're like a Jack Kerouac novel.
I am, yeah.
Just on the road.
I am, yeah. Wow. Thanks for saying that.
Yeah.
Everybody I meet is so mean.
Huh, yeah.
Well, you want to get back to it?
He's the smallest. What the f?
From the very first second, it's apparent this is gonna be the silly one in the franchise. There's funky intro music with lyrics and a list of the most insane character names ever. Auntie Entity, Pig Killer, Tauntaun Tattoo, Dr. Dealgood, Mr. Skyfish, Screw Loose, Eddie? Yeah! I mean, half the script writing sessions must have been just coming up with names.
The hell's a chicken faggot?
Well, whatever. Check this out. SAGA.
I don't like here.
Also, an airplane knocking a dude off his camel car. Hey, it's Gyro, and he has a son now, and they steal the dude's shit and his monkey, and holy cow, the dude was Mad Max? What are the odds? He has long hair now, and I thought he was never seen again. Isn't Gyro supposed to be the longtime leader of the group from the last movie? Hold on to that thought. Max wanders to a post-apocalyptic fallout settlement called Barter Town, where people love to barter. In the town, the Barter Town,
people come here to trade.
How's that so? First barter? A dude offers Max heavily irradiated water, but Max says no thanks, but counterpoint.
What's a little fallout, huh?
He heads inside where a little man wears an extra doll head on a stick, but it doesn't really add all that much to his height, and I highly doubt anybody is like, wow, look at this regular-sized but doll-faced man standing in front of me. At least no one says it when Dave does it at our local Arby's.
I thought perhaps the end of days was upon us, but it turned out it was just...
Max is only here to get his shit back, and Dr. Dealgood is like, you seem quick.
Keep talking.
Let me take you to the queen of this place, Auntie Entity. But first, you gotta give up all your weapons. And Max does, and it does that silly thing where he has so many weapons, except A, they definitely have twice the sounds as weapons. They just keep cutting to his face and make more gun rattling noises, but the actual pile of weapons isn't overly huge. And B, it's so interesting that in movies they're always like, wow, he's dangerous. Look at the number of weapons he has.
Gun.
Another gun.
Too many guns.
Even though it's more about quality, right? Like if you have a shotgun and nunchucks and a firecracker, does that make you significantly more dangerous than one guy with just a shotgun?
What do you mean?
You know, like nunchuck.
Feels like the main thing is how much ammo they're packing. Unless your profession is Ninja Turtle, you don't really need to bring nunchucks to a shotgun fight.
I got skills.
Girls only want boyfriends who have great skills.
Sorry, the brothel's full.
And probably the scariest thing actually would be a desert hobo armed with only an old sardine can. If he feels safe with just that as his weapon, you know that he can do some really scary stuff with it to you and probably all of your orifices.
I got
orifices. But whatever. Max rides a meat-powered elevator, which weirdly was actually Dave's mom's high school nickname. Isn't that right? The old meat-powered elevator? I can call her that now because we finally don't have to film all of these in her basement, which to be clear, is not a euphemism. The basement part, the meat elevator part was, but not her basement. It doesn't even mean anything. There's no connotation to that. What is a meat-powered elevator?
I'm very curious.
Let's ask your mom after this. Anyway, that elevator leads to the top of Auntie's magic treehouse. Whoa, is it just me or is it sexy in here? Hey Dave, remind me when we're famous to buy a blind saxophone player for our den or whatever, at the top of our treehouse. It's hard to find guys that can play saxophone and are legally blind.
Play something dun-dun, something tragic.
That in a court of eunuchs. You know, every king has one of those.
Breeder HQ is gonna be so tight, dude.
It's gonna be wild.
I suppose if we needed to save money, you could learn to play saxophone and I could just poke your eyes out. And it doesn't matter to me.
But he's just a raggedy man.
Sorry.
Hey, Internet, did you know that Dave and I have been friends since we were 14?
So much for history. Anyway.
Oh no! Max is attacked, but oh yay, he survives. And that was his audition.
Congratulations.
And he's the first ever to pass. And they're like, sweet, we need you to kill a dude for us. Now I get where they're coming from, but being good at not dying and killing are two very different skill sets. It's like expecting a guy who has a lot of sex with cars to be a great driver. Obviously, there is some overlap in the skill sets, but not that much.
We are dealing with subtleties here.
But anyway, your target is a little dude named Master, who is very smart. And he's somehow symbiotic with a big dude named Blaster, who is very big. Humongous, if you will.
He can beat most men with his penis!
And apparently very good at blasting. And let's just say we never see him using a gun, if you catch my drift. There's only one way he got that name. and it's not because he's got an Uzi.
I want to get a closer look. How do I get in there?
But anyway, they are together, like myself and my huge crotch, collectively known as Master Blaster. And anyway, Max, I'd kill Blaster and enslave Master myself, but in politics, you know.
Who asked you to give this question? Did Anderson know?
And Max is like, I do know. How about you let me inspect this guy for a while until I say yes? And they're like, great.
You can shovel can't you?
I got skills.
The poopsmith in his natural habitat.
And he goes to the power plant that runs this place, and as it turns out, it runs on pig power.
Bullshit.
Pig dog
chicken
human
what? Pig
Okay, this isn't helping.
Wow. Again, what is this, a Babe prequel? A Babe sequel? Reverse Animal Farm?
There are traitors among us.
Pigs.
I don't know, but pig powers everything here because they convert that into methane, which is kind of the ideal energy source because the only after product of it is bacon. I found it! I found the source of all bacon!
Pigs.
Max meets a pig killer who is like, yeah, my family was hungry, so I killed a pig, and I'm a prisoner slave now, but it's all good because I'll be dead in a couple of years anyway. You can only huff so much pig before your lungs just say, that's enough, you're dead.
Literally.
And Max's car is also down here and rigged to explode, and Max is like, you know, I could defuse it, but I don't want to, but Master is like,
me order, me master.
Me so horny.
And, you know, Master doesn't seem very smart to me, an English major. Maybe he's good at math.
Me really great with numbers.
Also, Master turns the whole town off for a minute just to force Auntie to tell everybody that Master Blaster runs Barter Town.
Master Blaster runs Barter Town.
Lift embargo.
This is ostensibly why she wants him dead. And Max does defuse his car, but also sets off Chekhov's car alarm and then blows Chekhov's whistle just to confirm that Blaster here hates loud noises. So armed with this information, Max is like, sure, I'll kill that guy, no problem. I mean, it's not like he's, what, mentally handicapped in some way.
Deal.
And Auntie is like, great, well, we've got this thing called a
Thunderdome.
And when people here have a disagreement, they kill each other in there rather than in the street. It keeps things civilized. And Max is like, sounds good to me. I don't care where I kill people.
How do I get in there?
And he instigates a confrontation with Master Blaster, and they get thrown in the Thunderdome, and it was super easy.
That's my vehicle!
We want Thunderdome!
So easy, in fact, that here's a thought. How many guys do you think Auntie has at her disposal? I'm talking about disposable guys, like wouldn't miss them if she lost a dozen of them guys. Like a dozen of them? 20? Maybe up to 100?
Maybe.
So why doesn't she just DDoS attack Master Blaster? Have her goons just challenge him to a Thunderdome match every day. No rest. He kills one and another immediately calls his mom a terrible cook or whatever.
Brain broken!
And then another Thunderdome match has to commence, and soon Blaster is like living in the Thunderdome. He stops sleeping, he screws up. One guy gets lucky and shivs him in his Master Blaster. It's just like every time he like kills a guy and he walks out, he's like, hey, your mom sucks. And he's like, all right.
20 men enter, only him leave.
Anyway, now they're in the Thunderdome and Auntie zip lines from the treehouse to the dome, which, by the way, is absolutely freaking covered in people, which seems unsafe. And an MC guy explains, yeah, we fight in here, so we don't fight out there, which makes sense. And then he says,
dying times here.
Is it though?
Which doesn't make sense, but it's also a pretty stupid way to say it. And oh, Gyro's in the crowd. Will he and Max recognize each other? No.
He's bad, he's beautiful, he's crazy.
I do not know this man.
Blaster and Max get strapped into modified children's doorway jumpers and told the only rules are to grab weapons, distribute it around, and use them however you see fit. So, Mario Kart rules, basically.
I know you won't break the rules. There aren't any.
And go!
Big freak show! You're going nowhere!
First, they just sort of scrabble around, and then Max gets punched some, and thrown some. And all the clobbering causes Max to continually drop his whistle. Can you blow my whistle? Which he should have just started with in his hand. And also he gets bear hugged.
Leak time!
Until eventually, Blaster grabs an actual weapon with which he immediately accidentally kills a bystander. I mean, it's his fault for standing in the blood splash zone, I guess. This is an event you should probably watch from a couple feet back or wait till it's on streaming. Max grabs a chainsaw.
Groovy.
But, ow, shit.
Ooh. leaps.
Max manages to cut Blaster's harness and spends a good amount of time Cirque Day avoiding his burly ass.
What are you doing up there?
Until Max finally busts out his deadly whistle hammer combo. And he knocks Blaster's helmet off to reveal, oh, he is actually mentally handicapped. That's awkward.
He's got the mind of a child.
Master runs in and is like, oh, he's a baby, wah, protect him. And Max is like, hey.
This wasn't part of the deal.
And A, what a stupid thing to say so loudly in front of everybody. And B, yes it was. You're the one who did the research, bud. I'm not sure what difference it makes ultimately anyway. I mean, it's not nice to murder mentally handicapped people, Dave, but it's also not nice to murder anybody, Dave.
It's not his fault.
He already knew Blaster wasn't the one calling the shots. He's literally attached to a dude named Master. Context clues, asshole.
Master, I'm sorry.
There's no world in which he wasn't, at best, an idiot. But whatever, Auntie assassinates Blaster anyway.
Oh no.
And says Max can't leave because...
Bust the deal. Face the wheel.
So I guess she could have just killed Blaster at any point. Her whole scheme is revealed. She kills him in cold blood, and yet somehow the only person in trouble is Max for sort of an unrelated thing where he broke the deal to betray Blaster or whatever. This society is stupid.
You think I don't know the law?
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal.
And as it turns out, punishment is metered out by spinning a big old wheel of misfortune that has a lot of scary things on it, like death and amputation, but ultimately it lands on Gulag, which Call of Duty has taught me means that he's gonna have to fight one-on-one in like a bathroom to hopefully respawn into a Hunger Games situation.
We're in the gulag now.
But ain't it the truth?
But in this instance, apparently it means putting a goofy-ass Frank head on and riding a horse into the desert until it dies. But I thought a gulag was like a Soviet labor camp.
Right.
Why wasn't this called banishment, or make much thirsty, or desert horsing?
That's the deal and face.
Getting on a horse.
Also, Max's whole deal is that he just wanted to leave this whole time. So just give him his car and let him go. Or just shoot him in the head. Why make the dude who defeated the guy that apparently no one else here could mad? Well, madder.
He's crazy.
I don't know, but I guess for the time being at least, it's working out for Auntie as she is now in charge of Master. Eventually, Max's horse dies and he gets free and he's given water by his pet freaking monkey who dragged a water bottle 17,000 miles to where he was, I guess.
I think we're all just as lost in this sick little game.
Where is he? Well, he's dragged unconscious to Never Never Land. Basically, it's a small oasis where a bunch of kids just yell a bunch. And I guess they cut Max's hair and they swing him from a rope. And this is exactly what my life is gonna be like if I don't stop having kids. Please support my Patreon so I can buy a PS5 and distract myself from making babies all the time.
So I could get a PS5 and a vasectomy.
I told you, they can't cut through this hog, Dave. No knife is sharp enough.
They need to research like a new type of laser.
Once technology catches up to my hog, then I'll consider a vasectomy. Until then, I need a PS5 as a distraction.
Can you afford to take that chance?
Oh man, these kids also have a zip line? I feel like the world must have ended because everybody was only living for the zip line. But no, actually the kids decide to tell a long-ass story using idiot slang.
You wait. You'll see. Time's past count, I done the tell.
About the nuclear apocalypse and how they all got on a plane which crashed near here, and then the adults all left the kids behind to look for rescue or something, and the abandoned children came up with a weird culty religion about how the pilot, Captain Walker,
Remember this?
I mean, maybe.
would one day return and rescue them somehow. And yeah, they're convinced that Max is Captain Walker, and they've already painted him and everything, and they're like, all right, time to
Take us home.
to Tomorrow-Morrow-Land, big guy.
We gotta see Tomorrow-Morrow-Land.
And he's like, I'm not him, nor am I Jeffrey Epstein. I don't want a bunch of kids in a plane, leave me alone. Then he throws his hat like into space. And the kids all run to the crashed plane expecting it to fly, but like that time I threw Dave off a cliff after he ate all my shrimp Alfredo, it doesn't.
Sorry.
Hey, you think those kids are Italian? They yell a lot and are good barbers. That's like Italy's two main national pastimes, right?
We used to play stickball together behind the Olive Garden.
But even still, a few of these QAnon cuties still believe that Max must have walked from a cool-ass nearby city, so they try to leave to find said city, and Max tries weirdly hard to force them to stay by like shooting at them and eventually punching the main girl in the face.
Now listen good.
I would have handled things a little differently.
It doesn't work though.
They're gone. You gotta get him back.
So Max and a couple of random kids are forced to head into the desert to bring back the true believers. It's really interesting that George Miller had the idea to take everything cool about Mad Max and then just like not do that.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton.
Just do a Michael Jackson and follow a bunch of kids who want to go to Neverland around for 40 minutes. Make them scream a bunch.
Stop the noise, will ya? Stop the noise!
I've always said Mad Max would be better if it was more like Peter Pan.
Listen here! There ain't no tomorrow, Tomorrowland!
And I mean, for an Australian movie, there is a shocking lack of crocodiles. It would have been an easy,
It's all right.
Eventually, Max catches up and pulls some kids out of quicksand, although one of them goes full Ajax, presumably because of his advanced horse depression.
That's not true. Yeah, it is, you stupid piece of shit.
And instead of walking back home, they decide the easier option is just going to be to sneak into Bartertown and grab Master, even though some of the kids seem skeptical.
He's the smallest. What the f, Captain? What use is he?
And I think it's very funny that these kids talk about not having the knowing and Mr. Death and it's jerkin' time.
All that stuff's just jerkin' time.
It's my favorite time of day.
But then they also just go, whoa, what the f is up with that short dude? Like, who even taught them to say stuff like that? Like, all their parents left a million years ago, right? Were they just like, what the f is up with all these yelling kids? That's it. I'm leaving to go wander in the desert until I die. You kids are obnoxious.
They said bye-bye to them what they'd birthed.
Because of this.
But whatever, we're here in Bartertown now and a fight ensues, and it's mostly silly in the way that any movie fight with kids is silly. Like, there aren't many movies where an 8-year-old shoots a grown man to death or chops his arms off. They just knock people over with tubes and rope swings and shit, you know, kid stuff.
Drop him down!
And they, along with Mr. Pig Killer, who earlier mentioned having a family, but currently seems to have forgotten them.
Did he kill his kids? He just drifted away.
No matter where you go, there you are.
Managed to get a truck working, but taking it out of there requires destroying freaking everything. Now, I know Bartertown isn't as nice as Charlottesville, Virginia, give or take. Sometimes the right unites here, but it's also basically the only organized society we've seen in almost the entire apocalypse. Dumbass children cults aside.
This porky eclipse happened and it's all finished. It just isn't there anymore.
Like, it sucks that they tried to kill Max, but objectively, he did renege on a deal and their justice system seems fair-ish. I just don't know that I'm excited that they're gonna destroy the entire town because these dumbass kids believe in Q and almost died trying to find him.
I'm not Captain Walker.
But actually, it's fine, because Auntie is like,
we will rebuild!
But not until they've obviously killed Max and his children, of course. And again, that's fair. She's mostly fair.
Listen to me!
These kids suck, huh?
We don't need the knowing.
So finally, over 80 minutes into the movie, we get some actual vehicle action.
Time counts. And keeps counting.
It turns out that that truck is actually more of a train, which is gonna really limit their evasive options. But to be fair...
So what's the plan? I'm not sure. I'm not the person to ask.
Yeah, I can tell, George.
There ain't no plan!
Max immediately ends up on a cow car, and another kid ends up on another car that he then drives ass out for some reason. And Pig Killer's leg gets harpooned, and little doll-face stick guy's car gets exploded by the train. And yet somehow he is still cartoonishly alive because, again, this movie's the silly one. Finally, a Mad Max for your whole stupid family. Things continue to happen.
We don't need the knowing.
Until eventually they're forced to stop because Gyro's little boy, dressed like a big game hunter and wielding 2 rifles that he couldn't possibly have the strength to shoot even one of, much less 2, has put some sand and on the track. Is this an effective use of his time? Is this a high traffic train area? Is there lots of high value freight moving through here? And he's like, I'm gonna rob you. Oh shit, there are a bunch of people coming, never mind.
Oh, I think we're all dead, mate.
So he escapes into tunnels where he runs into his dad and everybody follows him, and then they also all run into Gyro, and again, nobody recognizes each other. Isn't that weird?
You!
Me?
I do not know this man.
Does Gyro have like early onset memento? Like, I get that Mad Max is probably more of a legend than an actual dude, but there's literally no reason at all to use Gyro again when we last left him as the chief of a group of people that at minimum raised the feral child to adulthood. Like, just get another dude or make these dudes recognize each other. Why make it overly confusing for people who've kept up with the franchise?
There are dozens of us. Dozens!
Is Gyro also some sort of legend? Am legend? I have been told I look a lot like Will Smith. Dave's always saying, Will Smith? Oh my God, it's you, Jordan.
What the hell are you? No!
They all hop on Gyro's plane, though they can't lift off because it's overloaded and they don't have enough runway because the bad guys are coming, but it's fine because Max once again sacrifices himself for the sake of the less fortunate. And he instigates a pretty sick car crash while hopping free of the wreckage, and then Auntie walks up and is like, damn, well played.
Well, see you later.
And then Gyro and the kids fly through the ruins of, I guess, Sydney, and decide to live there. And I guess they also tell the legend of Max.
And you gotta listen it and remember.
Okay, could you just maybe talk normally?
And there are some adults, and the main chick has a baby now, which, I mean, that better not be Max's. And no, Dave, I'm not high-fiving you on that.
Ain't we a pair?
All right, blood bag, I'm starting to feel a little sad, so take this electric guitar and make some genty noises whenever feels appropriate.
On it, boss.
Breeders! He's prize breeders!
Oh man, gnarly opening logos? It's going down! A voiceover is like, record scratch.
My name is Max.
Probably wondering how I got in this situation.
Standing in the desert next to a sick-ass muscle car. Well, my name is Max, like the pads.
My world is fire and blood.
And you and I think we just have to put up with it. Well, we don't.
Always with wings.
And I was a cop, but then there was some oil wars and then some radioactive stuff, and it might be crazy, but like everyone else is crazier probably. But then a little girl voice is like, hey, you promised to help.
Where are you?
But Max had a son that couldn't talk and is currently quite flat.
Flat boys, bang.
Anyway, Max downs a 5-hour energy so he can focus on running away from some bad dudes. They flipped his car. And okay, here's a vision of a different, definitely older kid than his kid getting run over by a car, and why do they keep changing the backstory? Maybe after the last movie, the world got it together, rebuilt society and everything, and then Max lost another family before another apocalypse.
So I exist in this wasteland.
For the second time.
Other than that, my best guess is that, yeah, Max is truly just sort of a legendary desert post-apocalyptic Jesus, which I guess also applies to regular Jesus.
No more Mr. Nice Jesus.
And he needs 4-ish gospels, each with their own focus, but ultimately telling the same truth.
Guess who's back? A man reduced to a single instinct.
You get your period, you ruin your panties.
Like, sure, various moments are perceived differently, but he's a man with a tragic past and a violent future. Although we all agree he was a damn cop for some reason. I guess in this world, ACAB stands for all cops are barely holding on to reality and living with a multiple choice. Bang! Anyway, he gets a fly-ass haircut and sweet blood-type tattoos, and hey, that's not Mel Gibson. Still a crazy white boy, though. All 4 gospels agree on that.
Much better.
You're insane.
Max's captors want to poke him with hot metal, but Max is like, no thanks, and he busts out. And he runs around, and this sped-up film time is so weird. It's just a really unorthodox way to shoot action beats in a modern movie. It's not a bad thing necessarily, it's just extremely odd. Sort of like Dave's penis.
That was a bad idea.
Oh, man. All right, can I keep the pick?
Give me that too, just to be safe.
Survive.
Well, whatever. Max gets pretty far, but is ultimately caught again, and I bet he's gonna get poked like double hard now. Elsewhere, this cancer-stricken culty religious figure named Immortan Joe is like, alrighty, we're gonna send this big war rig truck on a few errands. We need gas and bullets.
We're gonna go to Home Depot.
And this one-armed lady named Furiosa is gonna drive the truck to Gastown and the bullet farm to trade them for produce and stuff, because we've got water here, see? Seems pretty inefficient, but it is very visually stunning to pump it this way.
Do not, my friends, become addicted to water.
Oh, okay, Stilgar.
None of us, even dying of thirst, would ever drink this water.
Almost immediately, Furiosa gets a curly fries craving and whips the truck in a new direction.
Those cute little seasoned curls. It will take hold of you, and you will resent its absence. Arby's.
The guys with her are like, that's weird, but you're the boss.
I'll pass it down the line.
But they're noticed by Immortan Joe's weird little telescope guy.
Breeders ain't turned against him.
And Joe heads to his breeder vault only to realize his breeders have escaped. And speaking of, my patrons call themselves breeders for some reason, and I refer to them as
breeders. He's prize breeders.
So come be a breeder today. I promise I almost certainly will not lock you in a vault. I do not make any promises on Dave's behalf, though.
They are not your property.
Sorry.
Joe wants his breeders back, which I totally empathize with. So he sends a bunch of war boys after them, but the problem with war boys is they're all shitty and cancer-stricken.
I think he means you.
So Max gets brought along as a blood boy strapped to the hood of a vehicle to help give one of the shittiest war boys a little boost, put a little pep in his step.
That's right. High-octane crazy blood filling me up.
Much better. So the epic chase is on, and they brought along their music wagon, which is basically the coolest ever put to film. I wish what he was playing synced up with the soundtrack more often, but that also basically sounds impossible. So as my wife said to me during our wedding night, I'll just be happy with what we've got. The war rig ends up in Raider territory or something. And when Furiosa is asked what the plan is, she responds the same way Dave does when I ask him what we should do with a big plate of spaghetti. I, of course, always politely decline and take a 5-hour shower. The Raiders are here, and one of the war rig support vehicles ends up in a punji trap, and they've got crazy turtle cars, and they are bombarded with explosive spears, and the crashes are just so sick, you guys. So beautiful. The Raiders also have a bulldozer car, and things are looking dire until an injured war boy sprays chrome all over his face and kills himself in a blaze of glory. So beautiful. Are we sure this isn't Florida? You know, I really wish somebody on my team was willing to do whatever it took to be successful, but no. Dave never explodes himself when I ask him to, no matter how much silver paint I make him drink. It's honestly the worst thing about you.
What have you done?
Sorry.
And now a bunch of sexy, presumably breeder ladies crawl out of the tanker to the cab and holy shit, explosion.
I need more.
The plan appears to be to lose their pursuers in the most insane dust storm ever, and Max does everything he can to get off the hood of the car so he can maybe survive this Burning Man dust bowl.
Burners really make the best of things. This just like brought everyone together as a community.
What a lovely day!
And again, completely unlike Dave, our main war boy intentionally leaks gas all over his car and sprays himself in the face, lights a flare, and says what I've been telling Dave will be the case if he does what I ask for once, which is...
I live, I die, I live again!
Like, dude, you'll be reborn as an on-screen personality, man. It'll be great. I bet your lips will even grow back. Come on, man. Just blow yourself up for a video. But actually, Warboy is a lot like Dave in that he fails to do any real damage, though he does crash the car. And Max survives, but can't get unhooked from Warboy, so he carries him and a car door and a busted shotgun where a bunch of sexy wet women are bathing. Even better, they cut off their chastity belts, and only one of them is like super pregnant. And as you'd expect any straight man faced with this situation, Max is reduced primarily to primal grunts. So, oh my God. He's like, I've never been in this situation before.
This is a very interesting situation.
Oh, look at them. So shiny. That's not the word I'd use, but all right.
Furiosa attacks Max with the help of her sexy wet sidekicks, but then the war boy wakes up and helps Max, and the fighting is just so messy and gnarly and rad. It's just gritty and sloppy in a way that a fight like this would realistically play out. Like every time I imagine fighting a bunch of sexy wet women in the mud, this is what I picture. It's this, it's just this. Eventually Max gets a pistol and is able to commandeer the truck, but it dies almost immediately, and Furiosa is like, yeah, I activated a bunch of kill switches. The truck ain't going anywhere without me, and Max is like, well, where are you going?
We're going to the green place.
voice of many mothers.
And Max is like, oh, sweet, I love sweet greens. Let's go.
We like to say we want to build the McDonald's of...
Also, the war boy runs up and hops on the back of the rig, and he attempts to kill people, but doesn't achieve much.
It's over. You can't defy him.
And the sexy ladies are like, oh, don't hurt him. He's just a dumbass war boy. He doesn't know any better. And also, he's Nicholas Hoult, and Hollywood still can't decide whether they want him to be a leading man or a goofy side character.
You deserve much more. You deserve...
Pussy.
And he's obviously so scared and confused, so they just throw him out of the truck instead of kill him.
He's just a kid at the end of his half-life.
Joe and his posse link up with the gas town.
Flamers.
That's not the word I'd use, but all right.
And the Bullet Farm Shoots boys.
I'm a lead farmer, motherfucker.
And Furiosa reveals that she secured a deal for safe passage through the ravine area in exchange for 3,000 gallons of gasoline that she brought along. Not sure why they changed the name of gas, but this is the end of the world. A lot of things were broken, like words. But also, this is Australia. Wouldn't it be called like Pez-Troll or something like that? This is like Hunger Games making morphine morph-lean, because in the future, things are different. Words have changed, man.
Did the boomy booms blow up all your wordy word books? You need some morphling.
But whatever, the keepers of the way are like, you're being chased by a lot of people, so they start shooting. Though they do actually close the pass because they still want that sweet, sweet guzzling. And they do Six Flags stunt show motorcycle tricks, like throw themselves under the truck to grab Furiosa. And like, who has the confidence to do something like that? Like, has he practiced power sliding under moving vehicles like this before? Why would he, correctly, to be fair, assume this was even possible? It's just badass. Also, dead ass, unfortunately, but still mad props. Dude definitely showing up in Valhalla, all shiny, and oh, it's so chrome, probably. Joe gets his sweet ride over the pile of rocks and is catching up to the war rig and the grenade-chucking, motorcycle-hopping fiends, and Max and co detach and explode the gasoline pod. And you know, the music feels weirdly more hopeful here than I'd expect. Like, where's my grungy gent boy when you need him? I don't know, but the hottest, pregnantest breeder dangles herself out the side as a human shield, so Joe has Warboy, who he picked up earlier, board the rig again for an assassination attempt. And yeah, dude, if you can make it happen, you will.
Ride eternal, shining and chrome.
Can't ask for anything more than that, although it would be nice if there were a few other paint options.
Ride eternal, shining and
pink.
But despite the assassin and the trying not to flatten all his breeders thing, they do shoot harpoons in there and rip off the steering wheel, but thankfully, top breeder is fine. And Max gives her a little thumbs up and oh, she falls off. But her baby bump acts like a speed bump as her flopping body causes Joe to flip his car, so actually it's fine. Thanks for the help, breeder. Also, this doesn't mean I'm gonna cancel your Patreon. You'll need a next of kin to do that, you understand. You know, it's not like you're using the money. You're flat.
She went under the wheels.
Is that bad?
So they're in the clear for now, but the ginger breeder finds Warboy looking all sad and talking to his cancer lumps.
Barry.
And as always, all it takes is a single kind look from a single hot redhead for him to basically renounce his entire religion, quit his job, and decide to help out the gang.
I'd say it was your manifest destiny.
I mean, I get it. I only started this channel because my super hot wife asked me to not let our children die from starvation. I was like, I mean, okay, if you're the one asking, I guess I'll start a Patreon and try to feed our 3 children.
We can squirt off this little pinky.
And she's not even redheaded. And now it's night, and every movie should color night this way. I'd rather look at this than almost any TV show or movie from the past 10 years where everything, day and night, is colored to look like the inky blackness of Dave's butthole.
Prepare for the most epic battle of all time that nobody will see because it's too dark.
Speaking of, the rig is stuck in the mud, so... oh. Sorry, I just got your butthole on my mind.
Perfect in every way.
So Max plants a few mines in case, say, the bad guys have cleared the rocks and are in hot pursuit, and oh, look at that! The bad guys also struggle with the mud, so King Bullet Farmer pulls out one of his teeth that doubles as a bullet.
You kill people with that, do ya?
Because this guy has chosen a theme, and he's really committed to it. And did he also replace his testicles with tiny cannonballs? Probably.
Just probing.
And he's like, oh, I'll go get your sexy breeders and bring them back alive. But he's pretty immediately sniped and blinded by Furiosa. So he's like, never mind, I'm just gonna fire 2 assault rifles indiscriminately and just hope that I only injure 3 of the 7 people in front of me. Don't worry, I'm very accurate. I'm also blind.
Be careful! Protect the assets!
I'll be careful.
But they winch the rig out of the mud, and Max runs off to explode the bullet farmers more or less off screen, and then wash his face in the old mother's milk tank, which sounds like a euphemism for, again, what my wife did to me to convince me to start this channel, but that's literally just what he does. And literally what my wife did. No euphemisms anywhere.
What is this?
It's mother's milk.
Yummy!
I'm trying out more wife jokes to test my wife. If she gets mad at me, then it means that she loves me and watches my videos. If she doesn't, then that means she doesn't love me and doesn't watch my videos. We like to keep things spicy. It's kind of like when I was at Cracked, I would always make jokes about my boss just to see, and obviously they never watched.
Kind of like how, like, yesterday you made those jokes about Barack Obama.
Yeah, when he's like, we never slept together.
I did not have sexual relations.
Yeah, with that YouTuber. And I'll be like, you're right, it doesn't count if it's all mouth stuff. I think that's in the Constitution now, right?
I think after Clinton,
yeah.
Never forget about that, because that's all we got.
The next day, Max is like, hey, how do you know about this green place anyway? And Furiosa's like, I was stolen from there as a kid, and they see a naked woman in a tower, and Max is like, no, I've seen this before in the sacred text, which is what they call porn magazines in the post-apocalyptic world.
The sacred Jedi text!
Bikini Quarterly.
And it's very funny to me that the context for the meme is a naked woman in a tower. Like, it's literally clickbait.
That's
But Furiosa hops out anyway because, I mean, it's a naked woman. It's worth risking it all. But also she says a bunch of things that convince a bunch of old ladies on motorcycles that she's one of them. And they're like, oh, awesome, glad you're back. Bad news. The green place is dead, as are the majority of the mothers. And our particular downstairs business closed shop a long time ago, you know what I mean? And that said, we saved a lot of seeds and are Johnny Apple seeding them all over the place. So who knows? Green place 2.0 any day now. Also, Edith here says that she thought her flower might be blooming again. I mean, there's lots to look forward to.
I can't wait for them to see it.
And Furiosa's like, wow, I guess do you guys want to just drive across this salt flat for the next 160 days and see if there's anything on the other side? And Max is like, how about instead we take our big ass truck, smash through the bad guys, close the pass again, and take over the water pump area from the beginning of the movie? And Furiosa is like, okay, yeah, that sounds way more rad than my idea. And she is not wrong. Hell, the first thing that happens once they're noticed by the bad guys is a bunch of sucking and spitting. And then there are crazy pole dudes that keep attacking and sucking breeders out the cab, and their support vehicle gets run over, and it's wild. At one point, Max falls out but is grabbed by Furiosa like a dad grabbing his dumb toddler.
Oh, yeah, Daddy!
Although just like me, a dad, she gets stabbed. So Warboy is forced to do what my wife always does, and he kicks Max upright and onto another moving vehicle, which is just the coolest of shit. There's lots of other things that happen.
So beautiful.
But eventually they all end up on Joe's vehicle and they rip his face off. But not before saying,
remember me.
But hasn't it been like 3 days? Of course he remembers her. Unless she means remember me like in Valhalla, but that doesn't really make a ton of sense either. Does he have Memento too? I guess Joe definitely has type Fallout syphilis, so his memory might not be that great.
Your memory's mediocre.
I don't know, but Warboy sacrifices himself by flipping the rig and blocking the way, but interestingly, it doesn't explode. There are lots of dudes left. I think I'd have a little more peace of mind if we saw their bodies burning and flying in an ever-expanding fireball. Hey Dave, can you email George and ask him to burn a bunch of corpses for me and take a picture? Thanks. Furiosa is looking raw.
Hey.
So Max gives her his blood and tells her his name, and that works. At the Citadel, which is what this place is called, they revealed Joe is there! Everybody's like, yay, he sucked. We actually like Furiosa for no clear reason. I mean, as far as they know, she worked for Joe and was his right-hand lady, no pun intended, until literally right now when she shows up with his dead body because she only has one hand. She's his right-hand lady because she only has one hand. I know you're only here for the cum jokes, but sometimes I want to do something a little smarter, Dave. It's not like they watched the events of this rad-ass chase on IMAX. Seems like they need to explain a few more things about why she'll make for a better leader. But to be fair, a few fatter, milkier breeders dump a bunch of water everywhere, so I guess that's good, but not good enough for Max, because he leaves. And I guess this quote is supposed to be another hint at Max being just a sick-ass desert Jesus car ninja of legend.
I mean, maybe.
I don't know. Like Joe's face, this movie rips, regardless.
Thought somehow you girls were above all that.
Alright, we're almost at Valhalla, so I'm gonna get all shiny and chromy. God, they've almost caught up. Oh, what would Furiosa do? Oh, maybe I should just watch and explain her movie really quick.
I'm Furiosa!
I don't know how most people's experience began with this movie, but mine opened with a message from Furiosa, as if Dave needed another thing to crank it to.
Make the most of it.
And then again, this is probably unique to me, but I ordered the Alamo Drafthouse Harissa chicken sandwich, and it was fine. I mean, I did poop a lot of very spicy poop.
Make the most of it.
So, you know, sponsor me, Alamo Drafthouse, for more amazing reviews. And I also learned that Toe Cutter and Immortan Joe were played by the same guy, and also that guy's dead. Subscribe to my channel for more amazing factoids.
They used to make horses fall over by just having tripwires everywhere.
That's horrible.
Like whenever it was like a Western and it's like, the horse is shot, they just like made them run full tilt and then tripped them. And then the stunt guy just had to hope that a horse didn't land on him.
That fact wasn't fun!
Okay, the movie itself starts with very similar music and gnarly logos that remind me of Fury Road, alongside radio voiceovers talking about the bad things that happened that presumably killed the world, or at least Australia. We don't know if this is happening anywhere else.
Outrageous fun.
But then boom! Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. We see an old tattooed dude, but oops, never mind, he disappears into thin air. Chapter 1! We got chapters, folks! This is a saga. Inside a little oasis in the middle of Australia, a little girl inexplicably named Furiosa grabs at some fruit. But whoops, she immediately sees bad guys and sneaks up to cut their fuel lines on their motorcycles and stab legs and blow whistles. She manages to alert the main settlement, which has solar panels, by the way. So I'm surprised that it just dies somehow within 15 years without presumably anybody finding it. They just say the water goes bad, but I'm not sure what that means. Does water just get stanky sometimes?
We had no water, and
The water was slightly bubbly, mango-scented, poisonous aluminum flavor, moistness from my brand of choice.
it was poison.
I don't know. But Furious Mommy hops on a horse alongside Dominic Toretto's one-time but now dead wife in hot pursuit of the now kidnapped Furiosa.
My mother was kind of hot as shit.
I never thought anyone could understand how much.
What a hot mommy.
I mean, if those two mommies were coming after me, I'd be like, oops, my bad. Don't do anything naughty to me.
I would love that.
They kill one guy and steal his motorcycle, and Mommy picks the others off one by one as Furiosa does her part, biting fuel lines with her teeth because, man, she hates functioning fuel lines. But eventually one survivor makes it with Furiosa to a large encampment of pirate-adjacent weirdos, and the survivor refuses to tell anybody except the leader how to get to the place of abundance from which he just came because he wants all the credit for himself. But because Furiosa is a pint-sized badass, she somehow manages to slice his throat with his own motorcycle. This is why Dave no longer rides motorcycles or kidnaps children. It's just too dangerous.
Let's see if it pays off for him.
Furiosa is brought before the king of the weirdos named Dementus.
Who do we have here?
Demental!
That answer is incorrect.
And hey, he employs the doctor dude from Fury Road. That's fun.
Was it a male?
A1 Alpha Prime.
And while most of the pirates and such are mean to Furiosa, Dementus tries to be nice to her, and he orders nobody to touch her, and he assures her that he'll take her home tomorrow. But obviously, that night, Mommy sneaks in and kills a bunch of people, though she mistakenly spares a woman, which is a mistake that Dave has never made.
Dead women can't make any trouble, right?
And as she's driving away with Furiosa, she gets literally exploded in the back. That is, her extra gas can gets shot and she catches on fire, and she acts like it's no big deal, but I feel like her back suggests otherwise. And this is why Dave no longer does back shots. Is that what the kids call it? We gotta make sure these jokes will work on TikTok if somebody makes a short out of them. You even know what that means? Back shot? Don't. They can't fully get away because Dementus tracks them with dogs, so Mommy sends Furiosa to hide while she herself kills a bunch of dudes.
What a hot mommy.
Which reminds me so much of my childhood. It's like, oh, every trip to Food Lion was exactly this.
Start your own holiday traditions at Food Lion.
But they catch and torture Mommy, which draws Furiosa out of hiding to be recaptured by Dementus and the pirate-adjacent boys.
Perfect.
She rides around with them for a while in a cage on wheels, and it turns out that the old tattooed dude is a history man. And he says he can teach her how to do history stuff.
Story. Our story. History.
And that if she makes herself invaluable, then she'll have a better chance of surviving, which is an insanely similar plot point to the one in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Spoiler alert, maybe? I mean, it's not the most unique thing ever, but an unusually smart girl getting captured by stupid bad guys led by a charismatic idiot already in possession of an old white dude in charge of teaching them things and who suggests she give in to being a teacher too is a weird thing to see in back-to-back movies.
I don't know why that's wrong. For the life of me.
I now expect the same thing to happen in Harold and the Purple Crayon. Let me know in the comments if I was right.
Oh, no, honestly, I don't do a lot of thinking.
It's disappointing.
Anyway, eventually this ever-growing, ever-roving band of violent weirdos encounters an injured war boy who is like, am I in Valhalla? And it's like, does it look like Valhalla, you idiot? It's the same sandy shit you've been seeing your whole life, I assume. She doesn't even look like Anya Taylor-Joy yet. Then I would understand. He sees Anya Taylor-Joy and he's like, I'm dead, aren't I?
Is he gonna keep doing that?
Oh, most definitely.
And they're like, oh, yeah, probably. Hey, where are you from? And the kid is like, the Citadel? Another place of not as much, but still some abundance? And they're like, tight, take us there. I mean, you're still in heaven, but just like hypothetically, if you weren't. So the idiot war boy does, and upon arrival, Dementus is like, hey, let us up there, Morton Joe, or we're gonna kick your butts. And he's like, lol, fat chance. And war boys go ham, chucking explosive spears and stealing their vehicles with skyhooks until Dementus and the gang are forced to retreat. And look, I don't know much about fighting, but those guys were like 7,000 miles in the air, and you had motorcycles. I don't know how you were ever gonna win that fight.
Cool, now what?
But Dementus is actually a pretty gifted strategist, seemingly, so he attacks a war rig traveling between the Citadel and Gastown, and he dresses up a bunch of his dudes like war boys, and then he stages a fake attack on the war rig so it looks like they're being attacked and need to get inside like ASAP, and he achieves this effect by actually killing his own dudes, which, yeah, that'll sell it.
We cannot be soft.
It also pisses off his sort of weird, Maleficent-looking second-in-command something who is like, man, I hate that you're killing all my dudes, like literally for real. But it works, and they Trojan horse a bunch of dudes in the oil tank, and they successfully take over Gastown.
Perfect.
It's honestly so easy, I wonder why Morton Joe has never done it himself. Like, he wouldn't even need the pretense of a fake attack. He could just stuff 50 war boys in the tanker, drive in like, here I am with all of my cabbages to trade, just kidding, they're explosive spears! And conquer it in like 5 seconds. Maybe he's worried that the bullet farm would get pissed? I don't know, but it feels like Joe could easily conquer all 3 strongholds if he just put 5 minutes to properly scheme onto his schedule. Scheme, don't breathe. New shirts coming soon.
The question is, do you have it in you to make it epic?
But he doesn't. So newly christened Gas King Dementus then calls a meeting with Morton Joe and is like, okay, so I'm the Gas King now, and I'd like to raise our trade rates. And Joe is like, I don't love that idea, but I'll do it in exchange for Furiosa, who I think will make for a great breeder someday. Which is actually what I think every time I meet one of you all online or in real life. You'd all make great breeders. Sign up to be a breeder today, and if you do, you'll like totally go to Valhalla.
Deal.
Morton Joe also takes the doctor guy because all cults need a doctor. Looks knowingly at camera.
You are actually a Dr. Jordan breeding variant.
So Furiosa is brought into the breeder vault, trademarked, which is full of hot breeder women, trademarked, and one of them gives birth to a messed up baby. Not trademarked, which is evidently her 3rd failed attempt to not have a weird baby, so she's fired and becomes a milker. Which is actually a career path I considered last February, but instead I'm doing... Milkering is always at the back of my mind, though. And though, just like with my channel, there are standing orders not to mess with any of the breeders, and Morton's big dumb son, Rictus, feels up Furiosa's hair, and he is pretty clearly gonna make a move. So she actually makes herself a wig of her hair with her hair. And when she's inevitably kidnapped that night, Rictus grabs at her hair, but she's able to escape.
What the hell just fell off your face? One of this guy's eyebrows just fell in the bowl of candy beans.
This is also why I make sure to wear a fake merkin every time Dave and I hang out. You make a grab for it and bloop.
It's like a newt losing its tail.
I always carry a spare.
Interestingly, Furiosa doesn't just bugger off into the wasteland, she actually remains at the Citadel but disguises herself as a mute dude, quickly rising through the ranks to become one of their better mechanics. She even helps build a sick new war rig with truck nuts, but like truck nuts that spin and kill things. Her identity remains hidden for a while, but I tell you what, she soon grows up into Anya Taylor-Joy, and even if everybody thinks that's a dude, a bunch of war boys are about to start questioning their sexuality.
That is it. You have no idea.
That's a good-looking dude, Dave.
That dude over there is very classically beautiful.
Yeah. I think I'd like to get to know him better.
But that was instinct.
You think people go out on dates on the Citadel?
Yeah,
just two war boys chatting it up over coffee, which is actually just motor oil.
Is this coffee?
Eventually, the truck nuts laden war rig gets to head out on a real run, and it's driven by Praetorian Jack, which is a shockingly normal name for this film series, especially considering there's also a piss boy on board.
The lowly piss boy.
That's like, hey, this is my son, Scrotus, which is another real name in this movie, and his friend, Kevin.
But Kevin's not here.
Whatever. They're attacked by former Dementus, current Maleficent bad dudes, and it's pretty rad. Let me tell you. Their primary mode of attack is like kite surfing motorcycles, which is an excellent level up from the pole guys in Fury Road. I mean, the next Mad Max movie is just gonna be like boats that float on sand and that can also fly, and they're armed with baseball pitching guns that shoot grenades. I mean, I'm calling it.
Most definitely.
And that said, while there is a lot of extremely cool action in this movie, the constant speed ramping and at times very clear use of green screen and CG sort of waters it down for me. Honestly, a big part of it is just how the camera is used. Like, it flies around in such impossible ways that I rarely, if ever, believe anything is being done practically. And maybe a lot of it is, but it sure doesn't feel like it. There's a scene later in the film where Dementus sits on a truck and like eats something, and even that shot is sped up a ridiculous amount. Having obviously just rewatched Fury Road, there are definite moments when, for example, I doubt a car was sucked up into a dust tornado and exploded for real, but the majority of the motorcycle and pole and car stunts feel real enough that I'm wowed by all of it. Furiosa just constantly takes me out of the action by not feeling quite right. There are several moments where, for example, it looks like a real car drives at a mountain, but then it transitions to CG as it climbs the face of it, and suddenly it looks herky-jerky as shit.
My herky was jerky.
If this wasn't a Mad Max movie, maybe I would have been more amazed, but because it is, my brain kept wanting things to look more real and plausible. I don't know. That's my review. Go watch Fury Road again for action perfection. Or The Raid. Always watch The Raid. So whatever, they're fighting, and we quickly learn Furiosa has stowed away under the truck with a motorcycle clearly helping to make her grand escape, but because everything goes to shit, she's forced to help Jack fight off the attackers, resulting in the deaths of not only every attacker, but also every single non-Jack or Furiosa warboy. She then pulls a gun on Jack in an attempt to steal the rig, but he throws her out and drives away. Except, during this fight, it was also revealed that Furiosa has been hiding some long, sexy lady hair, and Jack gets approximately 50 feet down the road before he realizes, okay, look, the wasteland sucks, there are not a lot of nice things out here, and that lady looked nice. And not to mention she kicks ass. So he walks back and is like, hey look, my whole crew just died, including at least one guy who died right in the middle of the goddamn cabbages that we're about to deliver.
My cabbages!
So even that's gonna taste like shit. So how about you join me? I'll train you up to be an imperator like me, and then
you'll have all the skills you need to get wherever you want to go.
You know, like skills.
You'll be all trained up in the art of driving big trucks with nuts in pretty much a straight line.
How hard could it be?
She's like, okay, but only if you eventually reveal that you're actually a good dude and then that we can fall in love later. And he's like, hell yeah, deal.
This I want to help you find it.
Dementus really sucks at leading, and Gastown has become a real shit show. He demands an audience with the other leaders in 3 days to talk about, I guess, how they can make Gastown suck less.
Orange mocha frappuccino!
Perfect. Not sure what Immortan Joe's gonna do about it, but as always with Dementus, it's a ruse! When Jack and Furiosa travel to Bullet Town to grab presumably bullets ahead of what Immortan Joe believes will be an upcoming war with Dementus, they discover that Dementus has already conquered it while nobody was looking.
Problem with a super specialized economy. I'd be over there in Sandal World.
Why does nobody want my sandals?
I'm trying to trade for bullets and...
All I've got are fur coats.
That was a bad idea for the
God.
desert, but I look so good.
The milk farm. God damn it. You'd think the place where they literally make all the weapons would be a little better at defending itself, but apparently not. Perfect. What follows is a long action sequence followed by a long car chase sequence that culminates in their car being flipped and then being captured by Dementis, which I'm gonna guess that's not good. There is no road! Ah, dang. Yep. Dementis ties Jack to the back of a motorcycle and drags him around until presumably dead, and ties Furiosa's now wounded arm to his truck, and then again he eats an herky-jerky. But she rips her damned arm off when nobody is looking because there's so much dust generated from dragging Jack's body around forever. Game over. And she escapes back to the Citadel to warn them of Dementis' impending attack. They don't initially believe her, and it does actually look like Dementis is exploding gas town for no reason, but she assures them it's a trap to get them to leave the Citadel so he can sneak attack at the Citadel. They believe her, eventually, and what results is a 40-day war presented in montage. Lots of people die, presumably.
Any die in war.
Furiosa eventually builds herself a robot arm, grabs a car, and heads after Dementis, who is largely undefended. While he sleeps one night, she sneaks up, empties his gun in water, and then she just sort of follows behind Dementis in her car waiting for him to die. Eventually, she gets out and smacks him a bunch, but he never satisfactorily begs or cries or anything. Nothing to really scratch that revenge itch.
No shame in hate.
It even takes a super long time for him to even remember who the hell she is.
You fabulous thing.
And then a voiceover is like, nobody knows exactly how she killed him, but also she told me, the narrator, who I think is also the history man, that she grew a tree where his dick is supposed to be, and he's just stuck under the tree forever, and then eats his dick, sort of. And that's why I rarely put my penis in trees anymore. You can never be too careful.
I put my whole body into...
Then the final shot of the film is her sneaking out with the breeders from Fury Road, a la Rogue One, leading directly into A New Hope, but the breeders are clearly not played by the same actresses. I know the sultry, barely covered outlines of those women when I see them, and those are not those women.
Ah! Oops! Mad Maxed him!